To whoever is listening to this, my real name and other crucial information such as phone number or postal code will not be leaked. I have a very unfortunate story to tell you all. This will be very difficult to get off of my chest, so I won't waste any more time and get straight into it. I live in Romania, in Maramureș, very close to a small and dirty town called Sani. Now, I don't exactly live in the city itself. I live in a decently large forest that is right outside the city. A 15-minute from my cabin would be more than enough for me to reach the city. Overall, before the incident, I lived a pretty calm and fulfilling life. I lived in a quite cozy cabin in the forest with my wife and 2 daughters, had sufficient funds and food, and even good internet access. The forest was very quiet, yet I still was very close to the nearby city, so I had access to everything I needed. However, this very calm and beautiful chapter of my life would end horribly. It was a casual night in late October. I was having sexual intercourse with my wife and with my daughter, as I usually do, when I heard 3 very loud notifications from my phone. Now, I thought this was quite bizarre considering my phone was always on mute, but I really didn't mind it at the moment. Shortly after I finished, I went on my laptop to do my absolute and obligatory daily deed of calling people racial slurs on the internet. My plan for the day was to spam the N-word, and in 50 different furry servers. When Discord loaded up, I noticed I had 3 messages from an account I didn't recognize. However, I thought it was just another troll or bot, so I didn't even bother to click on the DMs to see the messages he has sent me. I just went and spammed the furry servers like I planned, when all of a sudden the tab I was in suddenly changed to the DM tab of the unknown account mentioned earlier. The profile picture of the account was a weird skeleton with a black background. What was even weirder was that I had no common friends or servers with the account in question. So he had basically no way of contacting me since I had my DMs and friend requests off. The name of the account was Slenderpuiu. The 3 messages he sent said the following words: "Come in the woods. I'm coming after you. Look outside your window." Now, this was really worrying. First of all, how did he get my account and message me this when we have no friends or servers in common? Second of all, how did he DM me even though I have my DMs and friend requests off? The name of the account was Slenderpuiu. The 3 messages he sent said the following words: "Come in the woods. I'm coming after you. Look outside your window." Now, this was really worrying. First of all, how did he get my account and message me this when we have no friends or servers in common? Second of all, how did he dom me, even though I have my DMs and friend requests closed up? And third of all, how does this guy I have never seen before know that I live in the woods? I have thought about the situation I found myself in for some time, but there was no real comforting answer to this. The only slightly but highly unrealistic comforting answer I could think of is that this is just some huge coincidence. I was just sort of stuck for 10 minutes, and I was in great fear. While I was thinking of what my next move should be, I suddenly got into a call with the account. I instantly freezed out of fear. I knew this was too much to just be some troll or a sick joke. I felt like I lost all the energy in my body and my heart was heavily beating. It felt like I had no autonomy over my PC. I just sat with Slenderpuiu in the call for 15 seconds, both of us being in silence. But then he opened his camera, and what I proceeded to see almsot made my heart rip my chest open. He was about 10 meters away from my house. I also noticed the camera was held very high since I could literally see my roof, so the guy who held the camera had to be like 11 feet tall. He didn't say anything, and after less than a minute he closed the call. I was in a state of complete panic. I did not know what to do. I could either beg this man for mercy, say my last prayers, or just follow my instinct and sprint out of the house. Then, I hear the window kitchen broke from 2 rooms away. Without even thinking for a split of a second, I just stormed out of the house, leaving my daughters and wife behind. To my surprise, I didn't get caught, and I actually did manage to get out of the forest safely. And then I went into the city. As it was already past midnight, almost everything in the city was closed down. However, I found a small store that would only close in about 3 hours, so I just went in there to rest for a bit. Very fortunately for me, the cashier there was sleeping, so I just sat down on the floor and rested. But then the realization of what I had done hit me hard. I left my wife and kids behind, and I was basically homeless because I could not even get to consider coming back to the cabin. I tapped my pockets and felt my phone. I realized that probably the last hope I had was to just beg the person for mercy and hope for the best. I opened my phone and went on Discord. And then I saw I had 3 unread messages from Puiu. They said, "I shall make food with thy offspring. I will feast on your offspring's flesh. And come and we will eat your kids together." Well, if I was not planning to come back to the cabin before, this surely sealed my decision. But I still thought that it is worth a shot, so I texted him, "Please leave my family alone. I am begging you. Please let me see my family." He then texted back saying, "Come back." It looked like I had absolutely no other choice but to risk it and just go back and hope for the best. I took a deep breath, then exited the store and started walking towards the forest. On their way, an absolute homeless retard tried jumping me. I suspect he did to steal the little money I had in my pockets to go buy crack. Fortunately, I quickly uppercutted him and then kicked him in the head. He pulled his penis out of his pants at me, so I slapped him with all of my force and stepped on his head. I spat on him out of disgust and walked away. What an absolute retard. Anyways, going back to the point, I reached the cabin and slowly went in. It was very quiet on the inside, and things seemed to be all in their place. I went into the kitchen and looked out of the window, and then I saw Puiu, or, as I may call him right now, Slenderpuiu. He was about 7 to 8 feet tall, and was holding the hand of my daughter. His face looked exactly like the skeleton you can see in his profile picture, and he had a black suit with a red bow tie. My daughter's face was completely white, and no sign of life was on it. I opened the window and then shouted with full force at him, "Where is my family? Where is my wife?" And then he suddenly disappeared. I was then blinded for 5 seconds, yet I still kept my consciousness. I then gained my vision back, and I was in my kitchen. In front of me on the opposing side of the table, where Slenderpuiu sat. In front of him was a plate with food in it. He then started to eat from the plate. He then said, "This is the flesh of your wife." And then I instantly recognized a part of her flesh in the plate. I cannot describe how I felt. But then, just out of curiosity, I decided to ask Slenderpuiu why he did this to me, and why is he practicing cannibalism. He then answered by saying, "I am very glad you asked this. Ever since I was a little child, my mother gave me all sorts of unconsumable foods, which caused me to be severely underweight. Then, one day I got very fed up with the uneatable foods she kept feeding me, so I just pulled a knife and killed her. Then I ate her as a sign of revenge. I mutated myself to grow very tall, and look at me now, it worked. Ever since, I have done what I did to you to many people before, as I only eat the flesh of humans now. I am glad I have took the path of cannibalism, because the flesh of men and women tastes way better than the salami soup and smegma pasta my mom was giving me." I then said, "Why do this to me out of all people? What have I done wrong to you?" He then disappeared from my cabin, and since then I have not encountered him ever again. His Discord account literally disappeared from my friends list, and there was absolutely no track on him. I knew the police would not believe me if I told them what actually happened, so I just reported the disappearance of my family as a bear attack, and it was not investigated much. This is the events that led me to losing my daughters and wife. However, I thought of a method of keeping Slenderpuiu away for the listener to be kept safe. Try to replicate Mama Puyu's food so he stays away. Doing it is actually quite simple. All you have to do is basically mix all type of animal fecal materia and keep it in your kitchen. Of course, this is simply not enough to even get close to replicating how disgusting Mama Puyu's food is. However, it should be able to keep Slenderpuiu away. I truly hope these terrifying and unfortunate events won't ever happen to someone else.